We're all hanging out and we all struggle to make it in this life, but we have to hustle and struggle to do things, and it ain't always the right way. But then when we get a felony, we can't vote. So if they could put enough pressure on us for us to have to deny ourselves the right to eat right and live right, then we're gonna get a felony. Then you know what? We can't vote the right person in the office to help us prosper in this world, man.
The question stands, as the genre that uplifted and inspired so many of us, is it now poisoning itself?
We'll kick off our show by talking about hip-hop's relationship with criminality and the streets. Have a look.
Woke up this morning. Yeah. You got yourself a gun. You from the hood, I hope ya. Got yourself a gun. You want beef, hope ya. Got yourself a gun. And when I see you, I'ma take what I want, so. Got yourself a gun.
For artists and fans alike, hip-hop has become shorthand for the streets. And in street law, tough guys rule.
Hip-hop's a reflection of the environment that we grew up in. It's the harsh realities.
While art does imitate street life in hip-hop, fact is, a lot of MCs are exploiting the game, using violent imagery and gangster talk just to make more money.
Anything that I say on wax, I can entertain in the streets or I can entertain on record, so that's why I do it. But, you know what I'm saying, I would rather not die for this.
America was born from violence, and popular culture has always reflected that history. Hip-hop music is just the latest chapter. Rappers say they catch all the heat from society, while violent movies, TV shows, and video games rarely come under the same kind of fire.
We're all affected by what we see growing up, right? We're all visual creatures.
So before you're a rapper or an artist, anything like that, you are somebody that lives on the street, and most likely we live in black communities, and you see it. You see drugs, you hear the police sirens every night, you hear the helicopters, and you hear people getting shot.
We are the newscasters of the hood, because if, rest in peace, like my brother said, if we wouldn't talk about it, society would ignore it, like we didn't exist.
Black music has always come from the underclass. Rough and tumble juke joints birthed jazz. Street corners created doo-wop, and ghetto life was the inspiration for hip-hop. Although rap music commercial success may dwarf them all, it has never left the tough streets of its birth. And MCs have come to believe they must stay hard in order to keep credibility and sell albums.
How many MCs do you see in the industry on TV now talking something positive? How many? None. They're doing it because they say, I want to get there. They're going to do whatever we can do to get there. That's what it is.
You got to stay tough. You know what I mean? The strong only survive. You know what I mean? That motto and that mental has been programmed in our mind, not to show weakness, not to show fear.
I got mine, I hope ya.
What's up? We're getting ready to get right into this. We've got an amazing panel. Right now we have writer Kim Osorio. From St. Louis, Nelly. The newest professor at Georgetown University, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Writer Nelson George. Writer extraordinaire, Stanley Crouch. And from ATL, T.I. T.I., I'm coming straight to you on this one. We have had music throughout the generations, whether it's jazz, whether it's doo-wop, whether it's rock, whether it's funk, that have all had connections to the street. Why is it that hip-hop seems to continue to be attacked? Is this something that's just their turn, or is this something specific to hip-hop?
I feel like, for one, I think that it's the easiest place. It's the easiest place to sit the blame. Like I feel like that someone just wants to have something to blame society's mistakes on. And being that hip-hop is probably the youngest genre of music and the most popular and the most impactful, the most sought-after genre of music right now, then we're the easiest people to blame. I feel like, I mean, now don't get me wrong, now I feel like it's a lot of artists out there that do put those images out there and try to make themselves seem cool, and you know, they promote they promote things that they aren't willing to carry out themselves. They talk about life in the streets. They talk about carrying guns. They talk about selling drugs, talk about going to jail, when they've done none of the sort, you know, and really put the wrong images in the children's mind, trying to hype them up to do a bunch of stuff that they wouldn't do themselves. But at the same time, you got people like me. I really have done these things, and I'm just giving my testimony. No different than a preacher on Sunday when he goes up and say, hey, thou shalt not do this, that, and other. Yeah, I used to do it, but I don't now, and here's why.
Well, let me have Nelly chime in here, because I hear T.I.'s point about testimony, but it's cats on their third and fourth record. Right. And the testimony ain't that no more, because they living in the hills and their kids going to private school.
I agree.
So how do we deal with, how do we challenge that as a community? Because so often we're waiting for labels to do stuff that the community needs to do.
I agree. I think as a community we need to challenge that artist as a community. You know what I'm saying? We need to really say, okay, well, I bought that on your first joint. Now, I know you done sold this amount of albums. I mean, I hope that you're not that ignorant, that you're still doing these things that you're saying after these amount of monies has been invested in you by either these corporations or these money that you have made. Now, I think the community as a whole need to stand up and say, yo, wait a minute, Holmes, I ain't buying that. I don't believe it. And I'm not knocking gangster rap. I grew up on gangster rap. I grew up on NWA. I grew up on all that. But not once did it make me want to go out and shoot the police. Not once did it make me want to run out, kick in nobody's door with a shotgun or any of that. But I just liked the music, and I understood where those brothers were coming from. You feel what I'm saying?
Passionate.
Because it was like, yo, but did I know him? Yeah, my uncle was one. My cousin was one. You know what I'm saying? It was outside my front door, of course. And like he said again, I've done a lot of those things. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not proud of, but I took another route. I said, yo, you know what? All right, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna kick it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take my music. Everybody doesn't want their music to be political. Everybody doesn't want their music to tell them what to do. Everybody doesn't want their music to tell them what to wear. It's a choice. You feel what I'm saying? So I chose a different route. But do I do those type of songs? Of course I do.
At the same time, artists have to take responsibility and be creative and be willing to sometimes fail so that you can do something different. You know? And then there's a self-esteem issue that's just a problem in our community in general. You know, our community has deep-seated issues that you know, stem from a lack of self-esteem. You know, skin color, complexion, hair, just, we got so many issues we're dealing with. A lot of our women don't feel beautiful, and they'll do anything to feel it. And you know, I think sometimes people take advantage of it. But at the same time, a lot of them are adults, and a lot of them have the power and the intelligence to make those decisions that they need to make in order to make their lives better as well. So it's not just about rappers and images and women. I think it's a cultural issue. I think that education is something that no one's talking about. I think that literacy is more important than rap music right now. And you know, that's just something that needs to be dealt with.